Adam and Clara hurried along the path. A storm was brewing, and they were on the road. A bad place to be caught in the rain. But the sound of thunder was in the air. That spurred them on. Adam covered his charge under his cloak as the rain started to fall. He was soaked within a minute. A strike of lightning and sound crashed in the road ahead, and inside was a bird with wicked eyes. Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Today, we are looking at the Impundulu of Zulu mythology. Impundulu comes from Zulu mythology, and its name means lightning bird. It is described as a human-sized white and black bird. Its feathers are said to be iridescent, like a peacock's. It arrives as a lightning bolt. Oddly enough, it is said to use the fat in its body to produce the lightning, and it has multiple properties, including in spells and medicine. When lightning strikes the ground, it will burrow into the ground, and there it may lay an egg. And this is something you need to take note of. The egg can be a blessing and a curse, and it needs to be dealt with swiftly. Impundulu are immortal. They won't die of old age, and are immune to blades, bullets, and arrows. But they are weak to fire. That is their one weakness. They will often serve as the familiar of a witch or a witch doctor. But those are mortals and will die. But its loyalty is passed down through the generations, from mother to daughter. Now, it does need to feed. It has an insatiable appetite for blood, and its favorite meal is that of young women. To do so, it will take the form of a young man, nice and charming. He will seduce and separate the girl from others before draining her of blood. Yes, it is a shape-shifting vampire bird. It can control the weather by summoning lightning and clouds. Some claim that it flies up to 300 miles an hour. But that is a very unreliable estimate, though it is said to be a nimble flyer and can maneuver through tight areas despite its size. Yeah, it is pretty powerful. Not to mention, it has sharp talons and beak. But we have actually heard of vampire birds in mythology, the Strix, a potential relation. Except the Strix is said to be more owl-like, and most descriptions of the Impundulu say it looks like a hammercock bird, except much bigger. Yet there is another potential relative, the Native American thunderbird. Mind you, the thunderbird is big enough to carry a well, so it is much bigger than the lightning bird. There are two major ways which an Impundulu is created. The more drastic is when a bird is struck by lightning in mid-flight. The second and easier method is when a witch screws a lightning bolt. I'll let you figure that one out. Overall, it is associated with misfortune. So, how big is this creature? It is human size, but we can't compare it to a real-world bird, the hammercock, which is 22 inches tall or 56 centimeters, and has a wingspan of 94 centimeters, 37 inches. Since it takes the form of a man, let's assume it is the same height, so 171 centimeters, or about 5'7" worldwide, or 7.7 times a difference in height to the hammercock. So, if we expand the wings at the same rate, we get an estimated wingspan of 7.23 meters or 23.8 feet, which, if you watched my harpy video, puts it about the same size as Petrodon longiceps, which weighed about 120 pounds, 55 kilograms. So, it is actually matching up pretty good here. At that size, it should be able to carry off a young woman. So, how does it create lightning? Well, fat is combustible, but it is a poor electrical conductor. So it can't be the fat, but something in it. Something that is producing an electrical reaction. For our nervous system, we use a gradient of sodium, potassium, and some calcium, but that wouldn't even come close to creating lightning. And this leaves me stumped. We need a compound capable of creating a ludicrous electrical gradient at a fast speed. Some form of oil in the fat, maybe. But we do have a clue. The Impundulu is weak to fire, which means we can assume that whatever this compound is in its fat, that is highly flammable. Potentially, this substance is what is keeping it immortal. But that is just speculation. Though we need to acknowledge how fast it can dig. In a lightning flash, which is just half a second, in that time, it can dig a hole into the ground deep enough to place an egg and then bury it. Yeah, it works fast. Potentially, this is completed using its shape-shifting powers. Why does it serve the witch? What does it gain? We know that it is immortal, and that it stays within the family. Potentially, the witch provides magic, which fuels its power. Fight with Impundulu is going to be fast. It appears in the flash of lightning, which means you need to guard against that single moment. It has sharp talons and a beak, which can rend flesh, and it is fast. Gambeson, chainmail, and plate would stop that, except for one issue. It is called the lightning bird for a reason. Metal is a wonderful electrical conductor, and most forms of plate and chainmail are just that. So you will need some form of insulation to protect yourself. So oddly enough, wooden armor is perfect, but most of you will use gambeson. I'd also want to protect my eyes with a helmet. In this case, a mask would be best. But it can attack at range too, with lightning attacks. There is a good chance that you won't be able to dodge this, so have electrical resistance by potion or magic will be critical. If not, surrounding yourselves in pillars of stone and wood will offer protection, but it will try and swerve around them. It seems to have very large wings, and those you should be able to mess with. A large heavy net could entangle them and hopefully cause it to drop to the ground. Normally, against electrical foes, I suggest hiding underground, but that is more difficult here. It digs into the ground to lay eggs, which means it could do the same thing to get into your hideout. Weapons-wise, you can discard them, unless you can use one particular enchantment, fire. Either with a potion or a spell, you need to set your weapon ablaze. If not, fire spells shall abound. Fireball and the like are going to be critical. It is said to be weak to fire, so spells like Wall of Fire might offer protection. It will at least break its line of sight, and let you make a plan and counterattack. But there is an important factor to bring in. The Impundulu serves a witch or witch doctor, so you will need to factor that into your strategy. There will be a high chance that you are facing two foes. One fast with powerful attacks, and a spellcaster, which is always difficult. And too many variables when it comes to spellcasters. but it may make a move outside of combat. Remember, it will take the form of a man and try to swoon young women. They will drink the girl's blood. Watch out for new men and ones acting differently than the others. And of course, when it comes to seductors, never leave with a person that you don't know. Take time on dating. Overall, the Impundulu is dangerous with only one weakness: fire. There is no point in using anything else against it. It is fast and has a deadly range attack, but its claws can't handle many forms of armor. There are only a few ways to protect yourself from it, and it may have backup hidden away. That is why I am going with a 7 of 10 for difficulty. We are fortunate that it is weak to something so common. So, if you bring down Impundulu, you actually get something important. Collect its fat. Yeah, birds don't have much, but you will want it. It is well documented as an ingredient in many powerful potions, including the invaluable healing ones. In addition, you can use the fat to produce and control lightning. That is a lot of potential and very valuable. Of course, the rest of its remains aren't any different than a regular bird, except for its egg. They can be a blessing and a curse. They are dangerous to leave about. Best to deal with them. They are also well documented as having alchemical uses. Don't waste it. But there is one more thing. One which is massive. You can keep one as a familiar. Think about all this power. Sure, it tends to only work with witches and witch doctors, but it is an undeniable asset to be sure. Of course, feeding it might pose an issue. Its hunger is never satisfied, and it will constantly be going after blood. So, if you can deal with that, yes, this is a beautiful companion, which you could use. It will outlive you and pass to your children. The bird rushed towards the two travelers, but Adam was already working his spell from the moment he saw it. Waves of flames shot out and scared the bird back. It leapt back and eyed them. Both of them were casting their spells as the Impundulu dove again. First, it was blinded by a brilliant light, a moment before flames engulfed it. The black and white feathers turned to ash, with the rest of its remains. Still shocked by the encounter, they stood still as the rain continued to pelt them. Impundulu has the potential to be incredibly dangerous to encounter, and you will need to be careful, regardless if it comes as a man or a flash of lightning. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next time for a trip to Baldur's Gate. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.